Ini jawabannya gini dan kami yes. Terus itu buat langkah-langkah. Dulu langkah-langkah kamu buatnya kan. Bisa. Udah bang, kamu namanya kalau COVID-19 sebenarnya percobaan apa? Bikin hand sanitizer kan, bikin disinfektan kan, tapi kan enggak mengetes apakah hamster bisa kena COVID-19 enggak kan? Percobaannya kan bikin-bikin gitu dan gitu.
看见老师，我们这边的话都准备好了，如果您 OK 的话，给我一个反馈，我这边就可以录制了。
Maybe begin the conference. 对方没声，对方麦克风，
他把声音关掉了。
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 好像地方还有一个还没开。还有一个没开。对。他为什么还没开？Are you ready?
这个开了。
把两边都关掉了。
你的那个
这是他们关掉了是吧？
他们是听到我们了，他们听到我们。
Can you hear from us? Can you hear? Yeah. 我们是开始了吧？他们都没开是吧？
对，像中心。
现在这个就是说没有开是吧？
中间。
他那个就显示没有开是吧？
对，那个话筒那个轰了一下，那个就没开。他们还是要开始对的，要开对。
他们可以讲。
对。
他看到我们这样拍。
他现在听得到我们吧？开始了吧？
那我们把声音关掉，关掉。
他们现在地方到底听得到我们吗？这个啊 ，Hello, good afternoon, distinguished experts from Indonesia and Mongolia, and representatives from Wenzhou Medical University. I'm Xia Jingming, President of First Affiliated Hospital of Wenzhou Medical University. We are host today's meeting. Can you hear from us? If you can hear, maybe you can give us a signal. 应该听得到的。Today, with the spread of the pandemic, we are all facing the same challenge from COVID-19. We fully understand the current tough situation in your countries. As we have been through the darkest time and accumulated some experience of diagnosis, treatment, prevention, and control COVID, we would love to share our experience to provide some support. We truly believe only by cooperation we can defeat this pandemic. First of all, please let me introduce my colleagues. Yes. Professor Cao Jianming, Deputy President of Wenzhou Medical University. leader of Wenzhou COVID-19 prevention and control medical team, professor of traditional Chinese medicine, Professor Chen Jingguo, also deputy president of Wenzhou Medical College, Professor Zhu Cina, professor of neurology department, director of Zhejiang Province Key Laboratory of Aging and Neurology Disorder Research, Professor Li Yiping, director of Pulmonary Department, Professor Sun Caixia, director of Nurse Department of our hospital, also vice president of our hospital, and Wu Gaojun is a cardiologist professor. Now let's welcome Vice President of Cao Jieming to introduce the prevention and control experience of COVID-19 in Wenzhou.
大家中午好，我先肺炎疫情的基本情况。
Good afternoon. I will give you a brief introduction of the prevention, control, and treatment of COVID-19 in Wenzhou.
那我来操作。
好，在第一页吧，看一下啊。这是第一页。温州的话呢，发现第一例确诊的病例是1月17号。
In Wenzhou, the first case confirmed in January 17th.
当达到1月29号的时候，确诊率高达全国城市第19，除湖北以外，全国是第1名。
Until the time to January 29th, the number of confirmed cases in Wenzhou ranked fourth, highest in China, except the Hubei province.
但是，一到3月16号，我们的病例就清零。
But all the patients were cured by the time of March 16th.
在整个过程里面，我们温州发现有确诊病例504例。
During the past 2 months, in total, Wenzhou held 504 cases confirmed.
病愈出院的有503例，其中死亡1例，治愈率达到99.8%。
503 patients were cured. Only one patient passed away. The cure rate was 99%.
在所有的病例里面，其中输入病例达到190例，本地314例。
In all the confirmed cases, 119 were imported cases, and 314 were locally transmitted cases.
病例的基本特征呢，主要是早期是大量的输入型病例，而后来呢是由本地传播的病例为主，其中又是以家庭聚集造成的爆发性为特征。
The main character of the pandemic in Wenzhou is that in the first early stage, most cases were imported, but in the later stage, many cases were local transmitted, mainly from family gathering.
但是温州的话，才能够在这么短的时间内得到了有效的控制。我们总结呢，关键是下几个原因。第一个是科学管控效果显著。
Wenzhou has achieved a remarkable result with scientific control. In conclusion, we have the following experience. The first is that we have implemented traffic control and closed the highway entrance.
管控呢，主要做了以下6项工作。第一个呢是加强交通管制，第二个呢是按户籍限制居民出行停利，还有呢关闭娱乐场所、禁止集会等。第四个呢就强制使用口罩。第五，设立定点的医院重症集中救治，就分层分类的进行救治。第三呢。第六，保障物资供给。
So as you can see, except traffic control, we also limit the frequency of outings for each household, and we have closed all the unnecessary shops and restaurants to ensure no people will keep social distance, and the temperature tests were conducted in public places, and everyone should wear his face masks. And we have set up designated hospitals to centralize the severe and the critical cases and isolate the fever patients. We also ensure the material supply and the price stability of Wenzhou.
由于呢病源发病急，但资源有限，所以温州地区的医疗资源进行了合理布局、精准施治。我们说实现了3个一：统一指挥、统一标准、统一医治。
Because the medical and the resources in Wenzhou is very limited, so we have to make a plan to make a sound planning and precise treatment to allocate all our resources we can. We call it 3 unified. We unified command, unified standards, and unified treatment.
像3个统一里面就市委市政府牵头协调，市卫计委跟我们的温州医科大学牵头进行一系列的治疗等等，还有呢各定点医院组建以覆盖力量为主的医疗专家组，对病人实施救治。
The role of the local government is mainly for coordination. They coordinate all sectors of society to work together. And the local health commission, the Wenzhou Medical University, mainly for the set up the protocols and standards for medical treatment. And each of the designated hospitals sets up its elite medical teams.
我们说育成就是战场，所以我们说构建了3大医疗战场。第一战场呢是由组了10个定点的医院，温州市的、县的大医院都变成了定点治疗医院。第二战场呢，以我们温医大的附医为主，主要是解决危重病患者集中收治为主。第三战场呢，就以我们附属医院温医大的附属2院启动了。我们叫温州的火神山是吧？7天完成启用了一个新的医院，病床位呢从100张扩展到800张。
So we can in the apply all the major hospitals in the county and the city to be our designated hospitals. The second battlefield is our first affiliated hospital. It's mainly for the severe and critically ill patients. And we have the third battlefield. It's our second affiliated hospital. We can call it the Washington Hospital in Wenzhou because it's a newly constructed hospital. We transformed it to a main hospital for the COVID-19 only in 7 days, and we increased the beds from 100 to 800.
通过资源的合理布局，保证了我们温州地区有2000多名的医务人员可以投入一线，又保证了近3000张床位用于病人的救治。
So through precise and scientific planning, we have included medical personnel around 2,000 medical personnel in the fight against the virus, and we send more than 34 doctors and experts to Wuhan to support. And we also have included more than 1,000 beds for the patients and about 1,500 beds in reserve.
温州医科大学呢，作为立足于温州的大学，为这次温州的疫情做了自己应有的贡献，建立了温州市新型冠状病毒感染的肺炎疫情的数据库，为温州疫情防控政策提供了预警。
As the main medical university and the provider of health service in Wenzhou, Wenzhou Medical University has contributed a lot during the fighting against the virus. We have established the database of COVID-19 in Wenzhou and summarized the clinical characteristics of the virus. We provide important information for the government to make plans and policies.
我们的附属医院 有效的组织了专家组，保证了我们的病人得到有效的救治。
The first affiliate hospital of our university has set up elite expert team to make treatment plans for our patients to ensure each patient has his own medical treatment plan.
像我们附属一的话，修治了危重病例70例，占了13%危重病人。
The hospital has admitted about 70 critical and severe cases, account to 13.9%.
通过救治以后，我们发现出院率达到98.57%，死亡率只有1例。
After treatment, the recovery rate is 98.5%. Only one patient passed away.
危重病患者呢，还是以老年为主。
We found that the severe and critical EU patients are mainly elderly.
在整个救治过程中呢，我们做了以下几个措施。第一个是负责县市区确定危重患者的；第二个呢，集中诊治，执行一人一方案、一人一专班；第三呢，多学科专家集体研讨，制定在家的治疗方案；还与杭州的这一专家进行了会诊制度，还有我们的院士多次跟其他地方的院士进行线上联系，保持协调一致的行动。
We have carried the following measure to ensure with the fighting against the virus. The first is that we have been covered the county and the urban areas to identify the critical and severe patients. We ensure that all the critical and ill patients were centralized in our resident hospital. Make sure each person has his own medical treatment plan and his own medical team. And we have carried out the multidisciplinary experts meetings to find out the best treatment plan. And we established collaborations with the first affiliate hospital, Zhejiang University, to communicate with other experts from China.
我们还新建了一个呢定点收治的医院，也就是叫做温州的火神山。当时我们只用了7天的时间，整合了全市、全医院整个各个行业的医疗人员，保证了高质量、高等级的完成各项任务。
We spent only 7 days to transform our new second affiliate hospital campus to the designated hospital for COVID-19. We call it Huashanshan Hospital in Wenzhou. We have also ensured the speed and also maintain the high quality to coordinate all sectors of the city to collaborate and make sure the hospital with high standard and high level for fighting against this high level infectious disease.
该医院呢，2月6日正式接受患者，3月10号我们就达到清零。该医院总共收治了72例，实行了患者的零回头、零死亡，医务人员零感染。
The hospital was officially opened in February 6th, and only in 1 month, the other patients were cured and discharged. In total, we have 72 patients, and we have achieved remarkable results that 0 patient returned, 0 patient deaths, and 0 infected medical staff.
在整个救治过程中呢，我们还进行了中西医联合治疗。
We have combined the traditional Chinese medicine with Western medicine to treat the COVID-19.
由我们学校的陈景国书记牵头，撰写了温州市新型冠状病毒肺炎中医药物治疗专家组专家共识，14位中医师进了隔离病房，参与新冠肺炎干预，在整个救治过程中，充分发挥了中医的优势，做到精准施治。
Professor Chen Jingguo, the Vice President of Wenzhou Medical University, has taken the initiative to write the experts' consensus on prevention and control of COVID-19 with traditional Chinese medicine in Wenzhou. In total, we have 14 TCM physicians worked in the isolated wards, and with the intervention rate of reached more than 95%. So TCM has played an important role in the treatment, which is very effective and has saved many lives of the patients.
在整个育成过程中呢，我们学校组织在快的时间开发出疫情检测的试剂盒。
Our expert team of Wenzhou Medical University has invented a COVID-19 detection kit in a very short time.
我们的院长、院士呢，又带头撰写了《院士带你走进新冠肺炎》的一系列科普课程。
Our president, Professor Li Xiaokun, and other experts from the university also developed online courses for the public to educate them what COVID-19 is and how to control and prevent it. It's called academicians lectures, understanding COVID-19.
在整个过程里面呢，我们学校也不断的跟外国专家进行联系，把自己温州的经验分享给大家。
We have also shared our experience with many foreign countries like Italy, Iran, and Canada through online meetings.
我相信呢，通过大家的共同努力，我们愿意同印尼还有蒙古一道努力，深化合作，把疫情控制好，让大家早日恢复正常的生活秩序。谢谢大家。
So we work together from Indonesia and Mongolia to fight against the virus and to promote the development of global public health. I wish you early victory over the pandemic and return to normal life soon. Thank you.
Many thanks to President Cao, and he briefly introduction the prevention and the control of COVID-19 in Wenzhou. So you know, Wenzhou has around 10 million population and only have 504 patients. And we also cured all the patients within 2 months. So it's a great success. So now we would like to welcome Indonesia representative to introduce situation in Indonesia. Welcome.
Thank you, colleague from Wenzhou and friends from Mongolia. We thank for the opportunity to have this meeting in order to share your experience, and we shall learn many things from you in taking care of our patients. Let me introduce some people in the room. If you see, I'm at this moment, I'm acting as the spokesperson for the team. I'm not a professor. Many of people in this room actually have the higher ranks than me, and they are the frontliners for the patient control and management in this hospital. Most of the participants in this meeting, as you see in the screen, at least 50 people join from all over Indonesia at this moment. At least half of them are pulmonologists and other specialists who work in the ICU or the isolation room for the patient. Now I'm going to present some latest data of what happened in Indonesia. Yeah. Yeah, as you know, our country lies in the equator with the temperature around 26 to 32 centigrade daily average temperature all year long, and we have a humidity of 60 to 70%. We have 17,000 islands and 250 million people at this moment. There are at least 34 provinces, and as today, more than half of our provinces have reported patient of corona confirmed cases. So, our province lie in the eastern part of Java Island. Java is the most populated island in Indonesia. At least 60% of people live in this island. And among 6 provinces, we are the second in terms of the number of people after West Java. We have 35 million people with 38 districts, and the capital city of the province is Surabaya. We designed 75 referral hospitals today for this coronavirus all over the province. This is the capital city where our hospital lies, and we held this meeting in the city, the Surabaya city. Surabaya itself has 5 million population, and this is a second largest city in Indonesia. My hospital is Dr. Stomo General Academic Hospital. We have almost 2,000 beds, including 200 beds for babies and children. There are 1,500 medical doctors and residents and fellows, and 5,000 ambulatory patients each day. Our first case in Indonesia, notified in March 2nd, a pair of mother and daughter who reported mild symptoms after have a dance meeting. There's a Valentine Day's dance meeting with a gentleman from Japan who reside in Malaysia and turned to be positive after 2 weeks. So the Japanese man called the pair, the mother and daughter, then informed that him tested positive for corona. And this is the way how we found the first case in Indonesia. As today, April 8, 2020, 2,738 cases confirmed by PCR, 221 died, and 204 already recovered. This is the data. If we look at the some provinces, West Java, Central Java, East Java, and Yogyakarta, 4 provinces, 5 with Jakarta, they are all in Java Island. And this is actually the epicentrum of the diseases at this moment. We have confirmed cases. We classify cases as the PDP in Indonesian language, which in my opinion is the same with the probable case, and then ODP, which is a possible case. Number of died patient and the cured patient, you can look at the slide. But if we analyze the data, the major center of those patients is actually in Jakarta. So we are now applying some strict regulation for this province. The highest ranked people in Indonesia who tested and positive confirmed by PCR was our minister, one of the minister, transportation minister in Jakarta, and he's still in the hospital with the improved condition at this moment, but not cured yet. Slide. In our hospital, in Dr. Stomo Hospital in Surabaya, we have one isolation room with at least 17 beds. We are expanding this room, and we will have 20 more rooms and beds in 1 or 2 weeks. And as of today, we receive 25 confirmed cases and 9 probable cases. 6 of them already died. Some cities become the epicentrums, Jakarta, Bandung, and Surabaya. And the patient got the diseases from several big clusters, mostly from the religious mass gathering events. National effort in Indonesia led by the president, and we built a special task force with some regulatory aspects, including the law and legal documents, and there are, of course, many guidelines. For diagnostic, at this moment, several centers can provide the diagnostic by PCR, mostly at the university or the referral hospital, but the official result should be declared only by the Ministry of Health. But the Ministry of Health has a lab with the capacity only 13 tests per day. And more than 1 million rapid antibody tests imported from China are prepared, at least half of them already used. We plan to have the rapid PCR. It is informed that maybe in the next 1 or 2 weeks will arrive in Indonesia, but we don't have any clarification yet. And until today, at least 9,000 people has already been tested by the PCR. Some other supporting lab examination can be provided in most hospitals in Indonesia, except maybe for the radiology. Not all hospital has the CT scan, but chest X-ray and the other thing we can provide them in most of our hospitals. There are some problems for diagnostic, especially the limited PCR tests, even though we plan for rapid PCR next week. But limited facilities you can find in many hospitals in Indonesia. And some patients now do not tell the truth, because if they tell and we diagnose them as the possible or probable, there will be limited hospital that can accept these patients. So some of them hide the story and act or tell us that they don't have any contact, they don't have any travel history, but actually the patient have those things. And then, of course, maybe lack of trained physicians and nurses compared to the number of the hospital that we have at this moment. Slide. For treatment, mostly are supportive, but it depends on the hospital. They can give the vitamin C, lopinavir, ritonavir, which is a treatment for HIV, chloroquine, and it is more difficult to obtain the hydroxychloroquine in Indonesia. And the plan from the government is to provide the Avigan and the chloroquine. But Avigan only provided in some hospitals. It's a very limited number of hospitals. Oseltamivir is not available in most hospitals in Indonesia. Azithromycin we have plenty, and then levofloxacin. This is a current guidelines. Intravenous immunoglobulin has tried in some patients. Of course, because this is expensive, it can only be obtained by the rich people. Anti-interleukin 6 is more restricted than intravenous immunoglobulin, and we are on preparation for the WHO trial also to give the interferon for the patient. We don't have good data about Indonesian traditional medicine, although in the news there are some traditional medicine expert from Indonesia offering this kind of medicine to the people. For the treatment, more hospital, more rooms are already built, more building for isolation facilities now in every city, especially the big city in Java Island. We built some new buildings and used some old buildings for the medical personnel, learning from the experience from China. And then we have only small numbers of ventilators comparing with the number of the rooms. There's difference between adult and children in the management, but most of the hospital will put the adult and children in some same room. Limited room and facilities compared with the number of patients that we expected or we predict to come. And then exhausted medical personnel because the number is very limited. So they are now, after working for at least 1 month, become a problem also that we have to change some of this personnel. Limited drugs and mostly without strong evidence, lack of facilities, and not all hospitals have the same guidelines, so you can see the various practices across the country. Some traditional medicine distributed in some places for people in order to provide better immunity, but this is not applied for the patient in the hospital. This is only for ordinary people in the street or in the real life. For the infection control, of course, lack of proper isolation room, proper equipments like N95 mask, Google and the hazmat suit, and then of course lack of medical and paramedical personnel also, and they have overworked all the time. We need more training for these people, and then infection control practices may be not similar across the country. Actually, we have the guidelines, what kind of the suit that we need to protect ourselves. We cannot provide a Google for babies at this moment. This is the picture from Thailand, which is a baby, a newborn baby using the face shield already. And I cannot comment anything about the political issue. For the social issue, yes, we teach the community, the ordinary people, to stay at home, do the physical distancing, masks for everyone. We follow the WHO guidelines since April 5th. Hand hygiene, no absolute lockdown. This is the decision from the central government that we will not do the absolute lockdown like in Wuhan and Hubei. And then partial restriction and limitation for many activities, public activities. Religious issue is the sensitive thing. In the media, we campaign massively since 2 days ago that we have to use mask. Mask is compulsory for everyone. And some other social advertisement by many people in order to spread the information about this disease. And there are some issues for discussion if we have time later on about the clinical issue and the hospital management, and also about the community aspects. I think that's the short information from us until today. Hope you can understand and accept all of these slides. Thank you.
Introduce your situation in your country. I think you have already done a great job. So now let's move to the next section. Let's welcome representative of Mongolia to speak the situation in Mongolia. Welcome. Yeah. Oh. Welcome. Yeah.
喂，
什么信号？啊，最高的啊，如果呢信号不太好。
那也给他们文件年可以赚钱。
Hello, Shimbaya. You can say something right now, Shimbaya.
Okay.
Shimbaya.
可以啊。
他们还没连好是吧？那我们讲的他们也听不懂。信号下来，要不我们换一个那个啊。Maybe they have some problem in connecting. Maybe we can move to the next section.
Mbak, bisa kan? Biar ketahuan nonton toh? Mau.
我们人那么多，解除静音可以说哈。
他这个到底是开始吧？下一个啊。Maybe we have a connection problem with Mongolia, so we can move to next section. I will be the next speaker to give a speech on diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of COVID-19. Next slide. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Next. Yeah. At the first time, we have organized the leadership. In the leadership, we have many groups coordinating for medical treatment and the nursing team, eccentric. And we also have the Spanish is led by the ICU. We also have a multi-MDT. Yeah, next. Next. In the prevention and control, in our hospital, we have totally 6,000 hospital beds. So the hospital is very large. We also have 6,000 employees and with many entries. So we should control entrance. And each patient, each visit to the hospital should have the epidemiological history and also take a body temperature. Everybody should wear masks. Next. Also in the ward, each ward we have control for the ward. Also take body temperature and regulation for visitor, strict regulation for visitor. We also have like the disinfection of the CT scan, and we have training our worker staff, the doctor, nurse, administrative, and logistics, and the residents, and the cleaner, and others. All the employees should be well trained. This is training for healthcare provider. Also, in our hospital, we have sufficient facility and equipment like ventilator and CT. At each patient, we can get a CT scan. And also we have MDT discuss in the morning and afternoon 2 times each day for patient. Also, our president, also academician Li Xiaokun, led us and discuss with specialists in other hospitals. Next. For the diagnosis criteria, we also found some improvement based on the guideline of the national guideline. Like this, for the suspected cases, we should have epidemiology, history, plus fever, and plus blood routine test. Each patient we should have chest CT. Also, we found some patient with no epidemiology history, but almost all the patients have CT manifestation. So we think the CT scan is very important in the diagnosis of COVID-19. Also, during this period, we have online consulting for fever consulting and also online prescription, and we can deliver the medicine to the patient home. So if let the patient can give some medicine during this period. The key issue is treat the severe and critical ill patient. In our hospital, we totally treat 63 patients. Most of them are severe or critical patient. And we need to ensure no medical staff infected. Also, the patient and the doctor, the psychology health education is very important. In order to control the infection for our staff, we use informatic control and report the temperature and the symptom every day. For the generally patient, if a patient want to admit it during this period, we should take the blood routine and the CT scan and the epidemiology history, negative, no fever. So also we use by informatic control. All these four things should be done. The patient can be admitted to the hospital. This is the total number of fever patient and the suspected patient and the confirmed patient. In our experience, around 1 to 2% patient with fever is COVID-19 patient. So it's not very high. It's only about 1 to 2%. Since February 2, we almost no patient, COVID-19 patient were diagnosed in Windsor area, in our city, yeah. For this is the daily report of COVID-19 cases. We have enough doctors to, in the fever consult outpatient. You can see even in some days during the night shift, only the most is the largest is only 30 patients. Sometimes is no patient during the night. Yeah. We also have analyzed with big data and can predict the trends of the COVID-19 in our city. You can see in February 14, the reproduction number is almost 1.0. Yeah, there is no transmission during this time. Next slide. This may be Professor Cao have already introduced in Wenzhou, totally 504 patients. Most of them are secondary cases, and the imported cases is only 1/3, and 2/3 are secondary cases. This is we have 5 patients treated with ECMO, and the severe type between the two groups is 80% and 50%. The virus eliminated time beyond 16 days is around 38 versus 51% in each group. This is the patient recovered from ECMO treatment and ventilator. This is a patient. Also, this patient is recovered from ECMO. Also, I would like to introduce a case treatment with solid-1 combined short-term low-dose glucocorticoid. In this patient, COVID-19 patient, immune imbalance was observed in COVID-19 cases. Also, organ dysfunction, including ARDS, acute cardiac injury, shock, death may occur. Many patients also suffer from anxiety after COVID-19 infection, especially under the treatment in ICU. Currently, only limited therapy option and no developed vaccine available for this disease. Antiviral drugs might remain unsatisfactory or insufficient. So the solid-1 might block NF-kappa B activated the T cell receptor and the T cells, then can inhibit the cytokine storm and improve immune function. Also, solid-1 has sedative and anti-emetic effect, which can help reduce the anxiety of the patient and reduce oxygen consumption. Also, alleviate the digestive symptoms caused by the antiviral medicines. Also, it can block VEGF and BFGF. Also, inhibit angiogenesis.
Masih merah dia. Biar aja kering dulu ya.
Nggak warna pink padanya.
So for this patient is a 45-year-old woman was admitted with a fever, clinical fever, with a 5-day history of cough, fever, fatigue, and diarrhea. The patient exhibited no dyspnea, nausea, or vomiting at first. It was diagnosed after RT-PCR and CT scan. Next slide. Also have body temperature around 38, and the oxygen index is 220. Check. Also, the CRP is high with very high interferon 6 and interferon 10. Yeah. The solid-1, the dose is 100 milligram Q-night, and the low dose short-term methylprednisolone with 40 microgram per Q, 12 hours. After the use of solid-1 and solid-1, the symptom and was relieved. Also, the nausea and vomiting is relieved, and the oxygen. Next slide. This is the cytokine of interleukin 6, interleukin 10, and dramatically decreased after the treatment of solid-1. Also the lymphocyte was increased. This is the patient condition improved. The oxygen index gradually recovered. This is a CT scan of this patient. The first is the beginning. The last is the discharge. Almost completely returned to normal. This is the patient at the discharge. Yeah, summary. Salidone has the following effect. First, reduce anxiety, and second is anti-emetic effect, relieve side effect of antiviral agents. Also can inhibit cytokine storm. Also can improve immune functions and reduce pulmonary fibrosis by anti-angiogenesis effect. Thanks.
蒙古的那个朋友。
哦 ，Yeah。
Iki lo benakno Zen iki. Gak iso main kita mati.
Can be connected with Mongolia. If the connection is normal. Okay. Is it okay? Fine. Oh, okay. Yeah. Welcome.
说不出话。
他被静音了。
对。左下角你看到了没？话筒，他把那个话筒关着呢。
是不是？哦。
话筒关着。
我们还是下面嘛啊。Maybe we can continue to move on, and if next time the connection is okay, then we connect to Mongolia. Now let's welcome Professor Zhu Geqichen to give a speech on new measures for COVID-19 response, a lesson from the Wenzhou experience. Welcome.
各位中外的朋友，大家下午好啊！我呢就是把那个温州的这个抗新型冠状病毒肺炎的一个经验，我自己的理解，就是跟大家分享一下。
So Professor Zhu Geqichen will introduce us his own interpretation of the experience of fighting with the virus.
自从去年那个12月。武汉爆发这个新型冠状病毒肺炎以来，到今天为止，全球209个国家和地区，有将近140万个病人。这个爆发速度还是非常快的。那个 WHO 1月30号把这个事情也定成一个公共卫生事件。
So since the outbreak of the virus, it has been already spread all over the world through 209 countries, with a total number of 1.4 million all over the world confirmed cases. And the WHO has identified this outbreak as a public health emergency of international concern on January 30th.
这个是今天我们看到那个。约翰霍普金斯大学的一个更新的数据，它这里已经非常明显的显示，全球死亡已经7万多，发病的病人呢已经是134万。
So It is the latest data provided by Johns Hopkins University. The total confirmed cases is over 1.4 million, and the total death number is 81,259.
温州啊是比较特殊的一个地方，它呢是1月17号就是第一例病人确诊，那个2月17号最后一例病人确诊，当中呢就是用了31天的时间就把这个疫情完全控制。
So the first case confirmed in Wenzhou is on January 17th, and the last case found in Wenzhou is February 17th. So the epidemic was under control within 31 days in our city.
温州这个整个过程啊，我们把它分为2个阶段，一个是第一阶段的，就是抗新型冠状病毒肺炎的措施，还有一个呢就是第2阶段的抗肺炎冠状病毒肺炎的预防措施2个阶段。
So we actually divided the phases in our anti-COVID-19 measures into 2 phases, the first and the second.
我们从这个表上啊可以看得比较清楚，就是1月31号之前，我们的病人基本上是输入，然后就是本地的病人比较少。当1月31号之后，就是本地的病人大量在爆发，那么输入的病人呢就越来越少。总共的时间从第一例发病到最后一例31天。
So from this graph, we can see that actually it's divided into 2 periods. The first period, we have a lot of imported cases, and we have lesser local cases. And on the right side, you can see there is an outbreak in the local cases, and the imported cases are much less.
根据我们现有的数据啊，在那么短的时间里面，把一个城市的爆发完全控制，还是没有的。
So it is actually a great work we have done to diminish the virus in our city in such a short time.
温州呢是在中国的东南部，人口呢有925万。
So Wenzhou is in the east-south, located in the east-south of China, and we have a large population of 9.25 million.
我们这个第一阶段的那个措施啊，主要是有这么3个方面。第一个方面呢，我们就是把疑似和确诊的病人进行集中治疗。第2个呢，我们就是把来自武汉的所有的人把他找到，然后呢进行14天的隔离。第3个措施呢，我们就是把已经确诊病人的这些密切接触者进行集中隔离。
So the first phase measures is divided into 3 steps. First, we centralize the confirmed and suspected patients in the designated hospitals, and then we identifying and investigating all the travelers traveling back from Wuhan with a big data network, and ask them to quarantine themselves at home for 14 days. And then we centralize and medically observing individuals who have been exposed to the confirmed cases.
经过这样的措施之后呢，我们发现啊，输入的病人也就减少了，但是呢，就是本地的病人在高速的爆发，所以我们实施了第2阶段的。
So after the first phase measure, we found there is a decrease in the imported cases, but there is an outbreak in the local cases.
我们第2阶段的措施呢，我们把它归纳起来呢，叫做 SLTI， 也就是4个主要内容的4个方面。第一个呢就是封城。
We concluded our second phase measures as SLTI. The first step is to shut down the city.
这个措施呢，主要是为了阻断外面的病人再输入。
So we stopped the transmission from the outside of the city.
第二个措施呢，我们叫封区。
And the second is the lockdown of the community.
这个措施呢，主要是隔断这个我们城市里面病人之间互相的传染。这个措施是非常重要的。
This is actually one of the most important measures that we implemented in Wenzhou. From this measure, we stop the transmission within the city.
采取了这个措施之后呢，我们实际上是城市里面所有的活动都停止，包括会议啊，包括商场啊，包括这个社区其他的活动啊，统统停止。所有的居民啊，我们就居家休息。
So all the civilization are asked to stay at home, and we close down all the shopping malls, restaurants, hotels, and cinemas.
城市里面的交通呢，也全部停止。
And all the public transport in Wenzhou City.
第三个措施呢，我们叫做排查，就是把所有外面输入的这些病人，还有我们确诊病人的接触者，全部把它找出来。这个办法呢，我们是利用大数据和网络的措施来进行的。温州呢，一共找到就是外面输入有9万多人，并且接触者呢有16万多人。
So the third measure is called tracking and inspection. We use mobile big data network searching to find the suspected patients imported from Wuhan and the close contacts of this case of these people. We actually found out 90,000 travelers back from Wuhan.
这个措施也是非常重要的，因为我们只有把这些感染者尽快把它找出来，把它彻底隔离，才能阻断。
This is also a very important step because only by detection of the potential cases and stop them, quarantine them at home, this is the only way to cut off the transmission.
第四个措施呢，我们叫集中救治。
And the last measure is called intensive care.
这个呢，刚才我们夏书夏院长和其他的专家会跟大家分享。我们主要归纳起来呢，有这么几点。第一个呢，就是密切接触者，我们都要对他进行医学观察。
So the last step is intensive care, and it has already been introduced by President Shao, President Cao already. We also want to conclude it as we will put the close contact of the confirmed cases under medical observation.
第二个呢，就是无症状的病人，就是确诊的病例和没有症状的这些病人要进行医学观察。
And also put the asymptomatic patients under medical observation.
轻症的病人呢，要进行集中治疗；重症的病人呢，要集中到医学中心进行治疗。
Mild cases should be centralized at a designated hospital, and the severe cases should be transferred to our hospital for critical care.
经过这样的一个措施之后呢，温州啊，就是在我刚才说了，在1个月的时间里面，就是把这个疫情完全控制住。
So after all the measures implemented in our city, we have taken the epidemic under control within a month.
我们呢，把温州这个措施啊，跟我们差不多的同时发病的这些武汉周边的3个城市进行了比较，我们觉得我们这个防控措施啊，还是有它非常好的它的优越性的，包括武汉旁边的广港、孝港，有个什么啊？对，还有个荆州3个城市进行比较。
So this is a graph comparing Wenzhou with other 3 cities nearby Wuhan. You can see the total.
好的，就进来。 同时呢，我们把这个每日的发病情况跟这3个城市进行了比较，就是我们在1月31号之后，就温州就没有再高峰出现了，但是那3个城市都还在爆发。
And this graph is of the new cases confirmed every day in the 4 cities. You can see there's only one peak for our city, Wenzhou, on January 29th, and the other 3 cities has the second peak, even the third peak.
温州啊，我们对温州的这个传染病的情况啊，也进行了一下评估。经过我们的数据测算，这个2.0值也是比较高的，它的说明这个传染性也是比较厉害的。
So we actually have evaluated the basic reproduction number at the first phase. It's actually a little bit high. It's equals to 2.62 at first time.
我们温州经过这个治疗啊，防控和治疗啊，这个病人的预后也是非常好的。刚才我们校长和我们书记都已经讲了，温州的死亡率只有0.2%，那个跟其他全球、中国、武汉、欧洲和美洲比，我们是非常低的。
So Wenzhou is actually had done very greatly, and it has a very good prognosis. The mortality rate in Wenzhou is 0.2%, and the other countries is much higher than our mortality rate.
最后呢，我把总结一下2条经验。第一个呢，就是温州这个防控措施对快速的控制疫情是有效的。
So our measures are very effective for the rapid control of the epidemic.
第二个呢，温州这个治疗的经验包括早发现、早隔离、早诊断、早治疗，对疾病的预后很重要。
So early detection, early isolation, early diagnosis, and early treatment were critical for the treating process.
我们把这个经验啊已经写起来，发在 Clinical Infection Disease 这个杂志上面，大家呢可以链接，可以去阅读，可以分享。谢谢。
We actually have write a paper about our experience and published it in the Clinical Infectious Disease magazine. And we would love to share it with you. Thank you.
So Professor Zhu Ge gave a great presentation to introduce the experience of Wenzhou. Also, you can see compared with other cities, Wenzhou. The control effect of Wenzhou is very effective and very quick. Only within 2 months, also we have 1 month control disease, and 2 months all the patients are cured and discharged. So it's very effective. Maybe now we can try to connect to Mongolia. So maybe you have some problem in connection with Mongolia, and we can't hear their voice. So let's move on. Next speaker is Professor Li Yuping, is Director of Pulmonary Disease in our hospital. Welcome, Li Yuping.
Hi, I'm Dr. Li from Department of Pulmonary and Critical Care. It's my great honor to communicate with you and hope we can control the pandemic as soon as possible. We know, according to national guidelines of China, and COVID-19 can be classified as 3 types. And the first is mild to moderate cases, and the second is severe cases, and the last is critical cases. And according to the data from China CDC, the spectrum of disease account for mild cases account for 81%, and the severe cases account for 14%, and the critical cases account for 5%. And the severe and the critical cases is difficult to management and account for so many medical resources. And the case fatality varies among different areas for treatment and different among the different ages. The total case fatality is accounted for 2.3. And when patients age more than 80 years old, the case fatality is accounted for 14.8. And in critical cases, the case fatality accounted for 49% to 80% is different. Next. And this is a critical clinical course and the timeline of severe and critical cases of COVID-19. Meantime is 7 days when the patient admitted to hospital after illness onset. And some patients were ARDS no matter what we do. And the meantime that patients admit to ICU is about 10 to 5 days. And in severe and critical case, the SARS-2 virus load is very high, and the median duration of viral shedding was 20 days, even more prolonged as 37 days. And we know the main and important features of COVID-19 is lymphocyte anemia. And in non-survivors, severe lymphocyte anemia was observed, and critical cases have very high mortality. Next. So early and preventive therapy is a key. Next. We don't know what is the best preventive and treatment of COVID-19. So far, it is not yet available the best measures of COVID-19. So I think maybe the best method for COVID-19 is support treatment. But we need to monitoring the disease. We need to monitoring the patients. And the China guideline recommend when the patients meet the following criteria, that means the patient may progress to severe or critical case. The first is peripheral blood lymphocytes decrease progressive, and peripheral blood inflammatory markers such as IL-6, CRP increase progressive, and the lactate increase progressive, and the lung infiltration increase rapidly in a short period of time. Next. And some guidelines also recommend that we not only depend on markers, we also need to combine with the host factors and combine with the laboratory test result and imaging. If patients have these host factors and increase or progressive deterioration of laboratory test, that means patients may progress to severe or critical cases. This is our case, a male 54-year-old. And the first CT scan is day 8 after illness onset. That is a typical manifestation of CT scans, that is ground glass opacity. Distribution predominant in the lower lobe and the subpleural predomination. And after 2 days later, the CT scan shows infiltration and consolidation. And finally, the patient result in ARDS and receive intratracheal intubation and receive mechanical ventilation. But very fortunately, the patient finally successfully treatment and discharged from our hospital. Next. And this is the markers of this patient. We can see the D-dimer and elevation progressive from the normal range to 13 to 13. And we can also see the lymphocyte apnea persistent. Next. So D-dimer, when the D-dimer elevation progressive, it is indication of poor prognosis. Because we know vascular endothelium have so many ACE2 receptor, and the virus can combine with the ACE2 receptor in the vascular endothelium cell, and then lead to thrombosis, and then lead to hypoxemia. So anticoagulation therapy is very important in severe or critical COVID-19 patients without contraindication. So we need to monitor the patient and grasp the early indicators of patients that progression from mild to severe or severe to critical cases. And then we introduce the treatment. This is a summary. This picture is a summary of the potential anti-SARS-2 medications. And in general, it can be divided into 3 types. First is inhibit the SARS-2 entry the body. And the second is inhibit the SARS-2 replication. And the third is suppression the excessive inflammatory response of the body. Next. And we know randomized clinical trial of lopinavir, and it is completed and already published in New England Journal of Medicine. And this clinical trial in ITT population, it is no benefit. But this clinical trial also gives us several important informations. So first, in M-modified ITT population and the lopinavir trial, patients when receive lopinavir trial, that can decrease the mortality in 28 days. And the second, the time to clinical improvement is shortened. And the third, the time to stay ICU is shortened. So in modified ITT population, when patients receive lopinavir is beneficial than control standard care. Next. Group. And another very important information from this clinical trial is that when we give the lopinavir early stage, that is within 12 days, that is earlier, patient with severe to critical cases will benefit from lopinavir. So these are 2 important information we can from this clinical trial. We also, that chloroquine is have some effect in vitro, and hydroxychloroquine is more effective than chloroquine. And in our center, just as Professor Shah introduced, we do not use this drug. So we know that COVID-19 is an emerging infectious disease, and the pathogen is a SARS-2 virus. It is a virus pneumonia. We also know from the autopsy that so many virus particles in the type 2 alveolar cells. So I think antiviral therapy is very, very important, especially in severe and critical cases. So far, it is not yet available for specific and effective antiviral drugs. And the antiviral drug may be given at an early stage. And another drug for suppression the excessive inflammatory response is corticosteroids. And the corticosteroids is often have many controversial. In China, guidelines recommend that only for patients in severe and critical cases and meet the following criteria, they have the chance they can give corticosteroids. That is, the patient have progressive deterioration of oxygenation index or rapid progression on CT scan on excessive activation of the body's inflammation. And the corticosteroids only given in low to moderate dose and short duration. We also need to monitor the side effects and the benefit from corticosteroids. And another treatment of COVID-19 is neutralizing antibody, that is convalescent plasma. This is also recommended by China guideline version 2, that is only for severe and critical ill cases. And within 21 days of the illness onset, and the SARS-2 virus RNA is still positive, and the progressive deterioration of the disease. And plasma, convalescent plasma can be transfusion dose 200 to 500 milliliter 2 times. And assess of efficacy is include temperature and SARS-2 RNA negative and sulfur scores and oxygenation index and symptoms. And we can also measure the neutralized antibody titer. But not every person that recover from COVID-19 can be donor. We must screen. And another anti-inflammatory drug is posolizumab. But in our center, we do not routinely use this drug. So, because specific and effective antivirus drug is not yet available. But I think antiviral drug is also very important in early stage, especially in severe and critical cases. So we hope that we will have an effective antivirus drug. And another is suppression of excessive inflammatory response, include corticosteroids and convalescent plasma transfusion, and another interleukin-6 antibodies, and another host-derived therapies might be another option. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lee. She gave a very detailed speech about the treatment of COVID-19. Now let's move to the next speaker, Professor Chen Jingguo. He is also the leader of the control in Wenzhou City. Also, our Vice President of Wenzhou Medical University. Also, he is a famous expert in traditional Chinese medicine. Now, welcome, Professor Jingguo.
好，大家好。
Good afternoon.
这个尊敬的蒙古国这个各位专家，中国新冠疫情的防控治疗已经取得了决定性的胜利，中药发挥了重要的作用。
Now China has entered the stage of containing the virus, and we have achieved important experience. And traditional Chinese medicine has played an important role.
截止到3月23日，那么全国有74000多名患者， 接受了中医治疗，占到我们总数的91.5%。其中武汉地区有6万多的患者接受了中医治疗，占到总数的90.6%。在我们温州有487例患者接受了中医治疗，治疗率是96.6%。这个综合起来呢，这个总的治疗那个有效率呢是在90%以上。
As of March 23rd, there are more than 74,000 patients in China received TCM treatment, accounting for 91.5% of the total, including more than 61,000 patients from Wuhan, accounting for 19.6%. The TCM treatment rate in Wenzhou is even higher. We have more than 487 patients received TCM treatment, accounting for 96.6%. Combining the results of various TCM clinical studies, the total efficiency of TCM treatment is over 90%.
那么中医治疗新冠疫情的这个疗效呢，包括一个是有效的这个治愈轻症，缓解症状；一个呢是减少轻症和普通型的向重症发展；第三呢是提高重症和危重症的治愈率，降低病死率；第四呢是促进恢复期人群的集体康复。
So TCM has the following main character. It can stop the disease progression and relieve symptoms of the patients. It can stop the disease progression means that it can prevent the virus transmitting to healthy population and patients with mild symptoms and deteriorate to severe and critical illness. It can also help relieve the symptoms, help critical ill, severely ill patients recover.
中药治疗的可能的机理是：一是提高机体的免疫力，减少易感人群的感染机会；二是抑制炎症因子的释放，减少炎症风暴的发生；三是促进排便，减少细菌和病毒的致病力；第四呢是促进排糖化痰，增加氧化因子，改善呼吸；第五呢是活血化瘀，改善凝血功能，防止出血。
So TCM has the main following characteristics and functions. It can improve the immune system of human body and alleviate inflammation. Secondly, it can significantly inhibit inflammatory factors and reduce the chance of inflammation storm. It can also help us promote efficacy and reduce the possibility of bacterial and virus infection. It can help us reduce phlegm, cough, and increase oxygen index saturation to improve the condition of breathing. It can also promote blood circulation and blood coagulation function, prevent bleeding.
那么，国家中药管理局推荐了这个3药3方。那么3个药呢，就是指的是莲花清瘟胶囊、金花清感胶囊和血别净注射液。
We found the following 3 TCM drugs are very efficient for COVID-19, and the National Chinese Medicine Administration has shared it with the world. The 3 drugs are 莲花清瘟 capsules, 金花清感 granules, and 血别净 injection.
那么2个口服药指的就是莲花清瘟胶囊和这个金花清感胶囊颗粒。这2个药呢，都具有清瘟解毒、宣肺泻热的功效，适用于轻症和普通型的新冠肺炎。
The 2 oral drugs, the 莲花清瘟 capsule and the 金花清感 granules, have the effect of anti-inflammation and detoxifying, and it's suitable for mild and symptoms, patients with mild symptoms.
还是上面。那么我们的研究这个结果表明啊，这个金花清感颗粒它可以降低重症率，缩短推热时间， 提高淋巴细胞的复产率。
In our studies that we can found that 金花清感 granules can help the patients reduce the rate of deterioration and also shorten the time to bring down the fever and increase the rate of lymphocytic recurrence.
我们可以从这张表格上看到，就是说金花清感颗粒啊，这个对这个3个指标的这个改善和单纯的这个西医治疗还是有比较好的一个疗效。
So in this PowerPoint, we can see that the 金花清感 granules compared with Western medicine has significant advantages.
血皮净注射液呢，它可以遏制炎症风暴和凝血功能的障碍，提升血氧饱和度，用于救治重症和危重症的新冠肺炎患者。
Shifting injection can help promoting the blood circulation and removing blood stasis. It can inhibit inflammatory storm and coagulation dysfunction, improve the oxygen separation.
清肺排毒胶囊，清肺排毒汤、宣肺败毒汤和化石败毒汤。那么这3支方啊，它这个治疗的效果在我们这个表格上。那么清肺排毒汤可以用于各种新冠肺炎，它总的有效率是90%以上。宣肺败毒汤对于轻症和普通性有效率是90%以上。化石败毒汤它可以改善轻症、普通型和重型患者的症状，缩短治愈时间。
In the picture, you can see that we have found 3 T-cell formula are very efficient and effective for COVID-19. The first is the 清肺排毒 decoction. It is mainly for mild and moderate symptoms, and it also can help the severe and critical patients. The effect rate is over 19%. The second is 宣肺排毒 decoction. It is mainly for mild and moderate patients. The effect rate is also over 19%. The third one is the 化石败毒 decoction. It's mainly for mild to severe symptoms. It can improve the recovery time and shorten the treatment.
中医治疗机制的重点是清热、化湿和解毒。
The main function of TCM is detoxing and the inflammation.
在3个药方的临床研究当中，我们可以看到它的疗效。清肺排毒汤治疗除湖北之外的10个省的1263例病人，治愈率是96.12%，对57例重症患者治愈率是73.7%。宣肺败毒汤这个将武汉患者的治愈率提高了22%，在湖南，它在对轻症和普通型患者的平均住院时间缩短到9.66天。化石败毒汤治疗武汉75例重症患者，临床症状显著改善，治愈时间缩短了3天以上。
In the study of the 3 mentioned formula, it can be seen that 清肺败毒 decoction was used in treatment of more than 1,200 cases in 10 provinces outside of Hubei province, with a cure rate of 96%, and for 57 cases of severe illness with a cure rate of more than 73%. The 宣肺败毒 decoction increased the cure rate of Wuhan patients by 22%, and reduced the average length of stay in hospital in Henan province to 9.6 days for normal patients. The treatment of 75 severe patients in Wuhan with the 化石败毒 decoction has significantly improved the clinical symptoms and shortened the cure time by more than 3 days.
我们温州市 累计治疗确诊病例是504例，累计出院率是99.8%，死亡率是0.2%。那么中医的早期介入、全程参与、中西医结合、中西药并用，是我们取得很好疗效的重要因素之一。
Wenzhou has a total number of 504 confirmed cases, with a discharge rate of 99.8%. The death rate is very low. So the early intervention of Chinese medicine and the whole process of participation, the combination of TCM and Western medicine, are the key to our achievements against the pandemic.
好，谢谢大家。
Thank you. Many thanks to Professor Chen Jingguo. He gave a comprehensive introduction of the traditional Chinese medicine in the treatment of COVID-19. According to the agenda, now we can discuss some cases. We can discuss some cases here. Also, we have another speech. Professor Sun Caixia is the next head of our hospital. Now let's welcome.
Dear professors and colleagues from Mongolia and Indonesia, I'm Casey Sun. It's my great honor to talk about the screening and separation of COVID-19 patients. The screening and detection involves 3 locations. They are the entrance of emergency room and outpatient department, fever clinic entrance, and the fever clinic for suspected COVID-19 patients. In the fighting against virus battle, we timely and strictly stick to the rules: early screening, early isolation, early diagnosis, early treatment. According to our pre-examination triage system, all hospital visitors are required to take temperatures and report their epidemiological histories in the entrance of ER and outpatient department. If the patient have no fever and also have no epidemiological history, they will be guided to outpatient department. If the patient have no epidemiological history but has fever, they are guided to regular fever clinic. If the patient show any one clinical manifestation and any one epidemiological history, they will be directed to fever clinic, particularly for suspected COVID-19 patients. At the fever clinic for suspected COVID-19 patients, the vital signs, laboratory examination, nucleic acid test, imaging examination should be done and obtained. Then we screen patients in accordance with COVID-19 suspect case screening criteria, which I will go further into details in the next slide. If the patient do not meet the COVID-19 suspect case screening criteria, they are ruled out. If the patient meets the criteria, they are transferred to the single room of isolation area. Meanwhile, we will report to the local CDC. If a NAT result is positive, the patient will be admitted to isolation ward as a COVID-19 confirmed case. If the first NAT result is negative, the second NAT is required 24 hours apart. If 2 times are negative, expert consultation is also necessary. Okay. This is the screening criteria for suspected COVID-19 case. The diagnosis of suspected COVID cases should be combined with clinical manifestations and epidemiological history. There are 4 cases related to epidemiological history, including within 24 days before the onset of the disease. First, the patient has a travel or residence history in the high-risk regions or countries. Second, the patient has a history of contact with those infected with COVID-19. Third, the patient had direct contact with patients with fever or respiratory symptoms in high-risk regions or countries. The fourth is this class T, which means the patient has direct contact with 2 or more cases with fever and or respiratory symptoms occur at such places as homes, offices, school classrooms within 2 weeks. Clinical manifestations include fever, pneumonia, manifestation in imaging, the white blood cells count, and the lymphocyte. Okay. They are diagnosed, They are diagnosed as suspected cases if the patient meets 1 epidemiological history and 2 clinical manifestation, or the patient has no epidemiological history and meets 3 clinical manifestations. If the patient has no epidemiological history but meets 1 to 2 clinical manifestations but cannot be excluded from COVID-19 through imaging, the expert consultation is needed. Okay, next. This is the isolation ward layout. The movement of people shall follow the principle of 3 zones and 2 passages. A contaminated zone, a potentially contaminated zone, and a clean zone should be clearly demarcated. 2 passages include staff passage and patient passage. We should follow the one-way route principle. The staff entrance process are as follows. The staff enter the clean zone. They put on surgical cap, N95 mask, surgical mask, 2 pairs of gloves, disposable medical protective uniform, goggles, or face shield. Then proceed to buffer zone, potentially contaminated zone, and contaminated zone. The tax exit process as follows. The staff leaves contaminated zone and into the buffer zone where they remove their outer layer of gloves, goggles, face shield, surgical mask, surgical cap, disposable medical protective uniform. Then they leave the potentially contaminated zone and into the buffer zone where they remove inner layer of gloves, surgical cap, N95 mask. Then they enter into the clean zone to take a shower. Okay. This is 3 levels of personal protection. All personal protection equipment are listed in the chart. Level 1 protection applies to pre-examination triage in emergency room, outpatient department. Level 2 protection applies to fever clinic, isolation area, non-respiratory specimen examination of suspected confirmed patients, imaging examination, cleaning of surgical instruments used with suspected confirmed patients. Level 3 protection applies to when the staff performs operations such as tracheal intubation, tracheostomy, bronchofibroscopy, gastrointestinal endoscopy, and so on. Okay. As this photo shows the personal protection equipment of 3 levels. Okay. And here is a training video produced by our hospital. It is about procedures for wearing and removing personal protective equipment. If you are interested in it, you can download. Okay, that's all for my talk. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks, Professor Singh. She gave a very detailed contour of the hospital infection. Thanks again. Now, maybe we can discuss some cases from Indonesia or Mongolia, or we can have questions or answers. Yeah, we can have a question or discuss some cases. Welcome.
We don't have a plan to present a case. We just follow the discussion, and then we have several questions. But I believe maybe Mongolia have another issue to raise.
Okay. Any question is welcome.
Can I start with ask you the question? Yeah. Do you think that the traditional Chinese medicine has a bigger role or more important than the Western medication? What is your comment?
Yeah. Professor Chen just a leave, but for the Chinese medicine, I think they do have some supportive or effect. In this COVID treatment of COVID-19, I think supportive is very important, especially in the early stage. Maybe Chinese traditional medicine is helpful, but in the later stage, for the severe or critically ill patient, I think the help is not so big. Yeah. Yeah. 你们有什么补充吗？Any other additional suggestion, Professor Lee?
And just now, Professor Xia that introduces TCM, maybe important to moderate cases, because mild to moderate cases, I think that TCM can rapidly decrease the temperature and improve the symptoms, especially cough and especially fatigue. In severe or critical cases, needed to combine with Western medicine and needed to combine with the supportive treatment. It is very, very important.
Yeah, yeah. I think in the mild case or ordinary case, do have help. Yeah.
I may say something about it because we just now heard the Professor Chen have talked about it, and he also gave us the statistics about to show that with the combined therapy with the Western medicine, and it turns out that the cure rate is much higher and easier and faster time to reduce the temperature and control the symptoms. And actually, I think Chinese traditional medicine, because we have thousands of years of accumulation with the knowledge, right? And sometimes most of foreign countries don't understand it because it's quite obscure and sometimes mysterious, right? But we do, because the Chinese people, we have such a long history, and it has been long been a very important part of our lives. So we think it do works. But like Professor Xia has said, and this is very important for the supportive status inside, and this is necessary for us, we think.
Yes, maybe combined with the medicine is better. And also maybe traditional Chinese medicine can have preventive effect in the prevention. Yeah, I think because in your country also you have your traditional medicine is also the same. So for the prevention and the treatment, I want to say something. First, we should close or control the doors, entrance. If in the room, we should open the window, let the fresh air in. And when you go outside, never forget to wear a mask and wear your hands, wash your hands. And when you go outside, also social distance is very important. Social distance, isolation just for the mild cases, and we should treat the ill cases. We also don't forget traditional Chinese medicine. We can get help from the natural medicine. Yeah. Any more questions?
I have a question. During the outbreak in China, considering that many members of medical team exposed to a lot of infectious patients, do you perform mass examination for all of the medical team member? And what kind of examination do you have done with the RT-PCR or rapid test?
这个问题听清楚了，好像没完全听出来，你们听清楚吗？
就是对所有的那个医务人员的进行检查是用什么样的形式来？
医务人员的检查，那个谁来回答这个问题？医务人员检查我们也是就是体温了。Yeah. You means for prevention our health care provide the infection. So every employee we need a report temperature or symptoms, and we also use big data to predict whether the employee have go outside the city. Yeah. If some was we suspected, we also do nuclear test. Yeah. Yeah. We need to report 2 times in every day the temperature in the morning and afternoon. Every employee should report his temperature.
And do you apply a age regulation for the doctors or nurses, meaning that the old doctor cannot enter the ICU? You only use the young doctors in the ICU, or any doctors regardless the age can join the team.
In our country, because especially in Windsor, we have enough doctors and nurses. So maybe we have no doctor above 16 go to the isolation ward. So, but in our hospital, we also use the senior doctors. Yeah, senior doctors. They have a lot of experience, like ICU, pulmonary disease. Yeah, and also we have the second line doctor outside the isolation ward, so we can discuss each day. In the morning and in the afternoon, we can discuss from the isolation ward and outside the second line. Multidisciplinary doctors. Yeah.
Okay. My next question is, what is the criteria to send the people or the patient home after the ICU or the isolation caring? Do you need negative test by PCR? And how many times did you do the negative test before you send the patients home?
Yeah. Yeah. In our country, we have a guideline for discharge. The patient temperature should return to normal more than 3 days, and we need 2 times nuclear test negative. The duration is more than 1 day. Yeah, for the test, for the 2 times test, and also the CT scan or radiography show that the primary manifestation is recovered. Yeah.
When you mention the nucleic acid test, is it a rapid test can play a role, or is the full laboratory polymerase chain reaction test. Can we use the rapid PCR for that?
Yeah. We use RT-PCR in our hospital. We can do 2 times each day. We take the sample, and maybe 5 to 6 hours later, we can get the report back. Yeah, it's very quick. And in our hospital, we can do 500 samples each day.
May I ask one question? Actually, the medicine here that available in Indonesia is quite limited, and we have only hydroxychloroquine or chloroquine sulfate for the therapy of our severe patient. Do you have any recommendation? How long can we give the patient that medicine, or if you have any other drugs, how about the doses or the duration that we can give?
这个治疗的期限没有，这个礼品回答讲，绿水我们没什么药，我们没药。
Sorry, that you mean the hydroxychloroquine?
Hydroxychloroquine?
Or chloroquine?
Both. We have hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine. So how's your recommendation about the usage of those medicines, and how long can we give them to severe patients?
Okay. In China guidelines, version 7 that recommend the chloroquine to treat the severe to critical COVID-19. But in our center, we have no experience of this drug. And the hydroxychloroquine, some China doctor with this drug, and they told us that hydroxychloroquine can stop or prevent the disease from mild to severe cases translation. Especially in Shanghai, so many doctors use hydroxychloroquine. In generally, they use hydroxychloroquine 200 milligrams and 2 times a day, and not more than 10 days. And in paper that introduce hydroxychloroquine plus zithromycin, that this paper has drawn and maybe no effect, maybe severe side effects. So I think hydroxychloroquine or chloroquine needed to clinical trial to confirm the effective.
Thanks, Professor Lee. For these drugs, I also have some learning. Because in our hospital, we didn't use hydroquine. Yeah. But also, I know several days ago, maybe just these days, one paper published also retreated drawback for publish. So I think we still need RCT to prove the effect. Also, this drug have severe side effect like QT, prolong of the QT in ECG. Yeah.
Okay, because of the side effect, so this it remains to be controversial. So we will see wait for the further investigations about that. That's a medicine. Professor Shah, do you want to say something about that?
Yeah. Also, some question in the video. Vaccine. No vaccine now. Yeah. 因为你是说那上面还就是疫苗，因为你来说啊。
Actually, about the question of the any vaccine, yes, for actually, okay. Actually, there's no vaccine available nowadays. Several countries, just like USA and China, we also talk about it is possible to in this year, but it is remain. We will wait to see and whether it is available by the end of this year. I think it will take time.
Also, there's a question about how long for reinfection. For my knowledge, there's no reinfection for this COVID-19 till now. Yeah, but some patients cured. The RT-PCR may be getting back to positive. Yeah, that not means reinfection. Yeah. How does acupuncture help for COVID? We didn't have experience about acupuncture. Yeah. 针灸嘛，针灸对。Any questions?
Yeah, the next question is about the CT scan of the lung. Do you think that CT scan can replace the PCR or the nucleic acid test? If the hospital,
I think this is a good question. CT scan can't replace the RT-PCR, but it is very useful in clinical. If a patient with epidemic history or fever or symptoms with the positive CT scan finding, the patient should highly suspected the COVID-19 patient, and still we need RT-PCR to confirm the diagnosis.
I have one question. There are some debate about using immunostimulant to increase our immunity toward viral infection. Some experts say that immune stimulants, for example, echinacea, might increase the cytokine secretion more than needed during the viral infection and may lead to cytokine storm. The others says that echinacea actually damped the excessive of cytokine production, which is good thing, or which of these two opinion is correct for the case of SARS-CoV-2?
You mean for immune regulator? I think the immune regulator can be used in the COVID-19, but in China we also use interferon to aspiration, interferon alpha. Yeah, but there is no clear data to support. It's clearly helpful for treatment of the COVID-19. Now in the world have so many clinical trials, but the patient in China is almost no patient in China. So the clinical trial is very difficult in China. I also registered for solid treatment for COVID-19, but the patient, almost all patients already discharged, so we can't complete the clinical trial. Yeah, immune therapy can be used, I think, but we need to further to confirm the effectiveness.
About the acupuncture, I want to say something about that. Because I was once intern in the GCM, and this question is about how does acupuncture help for COVID patients. Actually, here, one of the, in fact, that will be acupuncture mainly focus on the treat some of the symptoms, side effect caused by some other medicine, just like nausea, or then acupuncture can treat that. And the other mechanism, I think that would be also about the immune system. And acupuncture help the patient's body to react to the virus, and it will increase the immune system. I think that's one of the reasons here we use that.
Any more questions? The time is very quick. Already 2 hours passed. Yeah. If you have any question, we can discuss one or more question.
I will add one question. I saw many publications from China during this outbreak. Did you do the same ethical clearance problem or procedures, or you pass all the ethical procedures, because this is in terms of outbreak situation? What happened in China? What about the informed consent and so on?
因为那个民族不一样，很多民族可能文化不一样。
就是说控制，就是说对我们是，对，
自行主义
就是我们的控制跟他们不太一样。
自行主义是可惜了。
对，就是有很多发酵的，但是会有经过正规的伦理审查。
那个应该还是要，应该要的，那个要的。
我真的是有的。
应该还是要，你睡觉。
Yeah, we do have that, and I think this is a basic request for that. So the articles all need that.
Yeah. Especially for clinical trial, we need to inform the consent. It's surely needed. Yeah.
Okay, and one more. Do you have a children patients? And what are the difference between those children and adults in terms of the clinical aspects and the treatment in your hospital?
It's a good question. In Windsor, we totally have two children patients, but the clinical symptom is very slightly. So the outcome is very good. All return to normal very quickly. Yeah. Less than in maybe other regions, less than 1% of children patients totally. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think that's all questions from my side. Then I will thank you for the answers and the discussion and the presentation. I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Okay. Also thank you for our discuss. We share the experience and the knowledge. This pandemic is a common challenge for all nations. Indonesia and Mongolia have a long history on the friendship with China. So we appreciate you for this discuss. We may have discuss in the next time. I wish Indonesia and Mongolia can victory over the pandemic and return to normal life as soon as possible. Thank you for all listening, and thanks, Professor, from our side and your side. That's all for today. Goodbye. Goodbye.
好，那就这样了。谢谢大家，谢谢大家。这个我这个主持。